The second day of minicamp in the books for the Houston Texans, and that wraps up the offseason workout programs. Well, what went down in the finale? Well, I'll tell you. Brought to you by my friends at Platinum AC and Heating. Dwayne and his crew, the best in the business. When I needed a brand new AC system, Dwayne was there for me, explained everything perfectly. From repairs to replacements to just plain old maintenance, Platinum AC and Heating is the best. Put the number in your phone. When you need an AC guy, you need the AC guy, and that's Dwayne from Platinum AC and Heating. The offense and the defense, a little bit of a 50-50 day. I thought that the offense had some really nice moments, and I thought the defense had some standout moments as well in the second day of a minicamp practice. If I was a judge and this was a combat sport, I'd probably go, split decision for the defense. I thought the offense had some pretty good success, including in the red zone against the defense after a Tuesday where the defense dominated in the red zone. The offense had a little bit more to them. And the offensive performance highlighted by Christian Kirk, the player the Texans traded for from the Jacksonville Jaguars this offseason. Man, he was a menace out of the slot. He started out in warm-ups and early drills with just a very nonchalant one-hand catch in the corner of the end zone. It was nice and easy. Made it look very easy. That's what the great ones do. They make hard stuff look easy, and that was Christian Kirk's great moment in the drills. But then once the team got out there and it was offense versus defense, he had a couple of more. And just asked C.J. Gardner-Johnson about Christian Kirk. A nice little out route towards the sideline. And Kirk kind of had to adjust and contort his body to catch the ball. C.J. Gardner-Johnson was right there in coverage, but it was a great throw from C.J. Stroud and a fantastic catch from Christian Kirk to, I think, move the chains based on where they were on the field. It was a nice one of those quick, hey, move the chains, get open, get the ball out. Don't let the defense bear down on the quarterback. That is something that the Texans are going to have to do with this offense over the course of the season to be successful. And Kirk, he can win quickly against defenders. And man, he got the rookie Jalen Smith later on in practice. So it's a 2-minute drill situation. Okay, 2-minute drill. Texans have about a minute on the clock. The offense is down 2 points. They need to get into field goal range, and they start on their own 30-yard line. First play, Christian Kirk, boop, boop, gets behind Jalen Smith over on the sideline. C.J. Stroud hits him perfectly in stride. Man, I just love what a healthy Christian Kirk can bring to the table for this Texans team, and they don't have to lean on him. You've got Nico Collins, who, of course, is very good at what he does. You've got Jaden Higgins, who's had some nice offseason workout moments. You've got Jalen Noel, who's had some nice offseason workout moments. And, of course, you have Christian Kirk. And when healthy, he has always been a productive wide receiver in the National Football League. I don't expect this to be any different. Christian Kirk, a productive player for this Texans team and one of the standouts in that finale of Texans minicamp. It was a really good day for Christian Kirk. Let's talk a little bit about that secondary. And I think D'Amico Ryans, he's got a little bit of a mad scientist situation going on with the secondary. I feel like with all the different players and skill sets he has in that secondary and finally having some depth with what they've got in the secondary, there could be some really fun mixing and matching for D'Amico Ryans. I mentioned Jalen Smith on Christian Kirk. Well, he was on Christian Kirk, but Kamari Lassiter was on the field as well, and so was Jalen Petrie, and so was Derek Stingley, and MJ Stewart, and Kalen Bullock. And so mixing and matching the ability for Lassiter to come inside and play outside, the ability for Smith to come inside, play outside, Jalen Petrie to play traditional safety and then up near the line of scrimmage. They're not afraid to walk MJ Stewart down near the line of scrimmage. And I haven't even mentioned the fact that C.J. Gardner-Johnson's on this team, Jimmy Ward is on this team. Jalen Reed, he almost had an interception in one of the team portions, just couldn't come up with the pass as he darted in front of the receiver to bat that one down. There's a lot of things that I don't believe D'Amico Ryans has had the ability to do previously because of the either lack of depth or lack of talent in the secondary that maybe he's going to be able to do in this defense with these players in the secondary. I mean, you think about the ability to show one thing and then change it right before. There was even a moment where Jalen Petrie and Kamari Lassiter went on a blitz, and the offense just had no chance of picking that up. Poor Dare Agumbawale, he was picking between a buzzsaw and a runaway freight train, and he couldn't figure out which one to go block. And he tried to block Petrie, but then Lassiter got there. If he'd blocked Lassiter, Petrie would have got there. It was just a really well-timed play. And you think about what the Texans have in the secondary coming back and then adding to it with the rookies and maybe a healthy Jimmy Ward and CJ Gardner-Johnson. It's a lot to like. Couple of other moments. Like Kamari Lassiter had a really nice pass breakup at one moment, getting in there early on a play. Kalen Bullock had an awesome, just like full extension, batted the ball down, was headed for Nico Collins. It was a really good play by him. That was the back end of that sack play that had the two defensive backs flying off the edge. So a little bit of credit to the defensive backs getting the sack, but credit to Bullock for continuing to play through the play, not assuming the sack in that situation. Miles Bryant had a couple of nice plays. He had a tackle for a loss at one point on a draw play to British Brooks. He had another tackle for a loss where he kind of sniffed out a screen, and he was around the football quite a bit, was Miles Bryant. So it's going to be a highly competitive secondary, not only for the offense to go against, but to figure out who fits where and can play where and what exactly they can do. And one day, I think somebody will throw the ball at Derek Stingley, but I don't believe I've seen anybody throw the ball at Derek Stingley just yet, and that makes sense. Derek Stingley is one of the best corners. Keaton Slovis, even CJ Stroud and Davis Mills, leave the testing of Derek Stingley to the preseason and the joint practices. Go try to pick on Kamari Lassiter, which isn't easy to do, and you don't always have a lot of success doing that, but you stay away from one of the best in the biz in Derek Stingley. Don't stay away from Platinum AC and Heating if you have any needs with your air conditioner. Look, I needed a new air conditioning system, and Dwayne was awesome. Walked me through all the different options from repairing what I had to a full replacement. That's ultimately what I did. And when I decided on it, he told me all about the new system I was going to get, the new thermostat, which is digital. I can control from my phone. That's a lot of fun. And exactly what to expect from an installation process. His guys were in here and done like that. They even had the crane here to put the new unit on top. It was so easy. I understand why they're 5-star rated by the Better Business Bureau. Dwayne is awesome. He's a Texans fan and a Houstonian just like you. So if you have any air conditioning needs, from replacements to repairs, or just want to get on the maintenance plan, give Dwayne a call today. He is one of the best, and you can talk a little football with him as well. Platinum AC and Heating, really appreciate them for taking care of me in a time of AC need. They can be there for you as well. Speaking of being there, the offensive line was there plenty in this practice. Look, the offensive line, they've just got to stack days. There wasn't a lot of times last year where we could say, hey, the O-line had a couple of really good days in a row. I would say that 2 solid days in a row for the offensive line in minicamp is how I'd characterize their days. They weren't amazing. There were still times where defensive ends were getting loose and getting to the quarterback, and there was a little bit of pressure here or there. But to have back-to-back solid days, I don't remember a lot of back-to-back solid days from the offensive line last year. And really, again, that interior offensive line, the 2 guards in the center, created a good start to the offensive line situation, allowing those quarterbacks, again, time and time again, to step up and make a quick decision. As the tackles faced off against Danielle Hunter and they faced off against Will Anderson and things were starting to collapse there, the quarterbacks were able to make some steps forward and go out there and distribute the football and get rid of it and not have to worry about drifting back, trying to beat Anderson or Hunter to the edge, or even Dylan Horton when he was in there, or Solomon Byrd, who had another 2 sacks in this one. Byrd, I think, coming up on 10 offseason workout sacks. A really good offseason for Byrd. But the offensive line, solid day. If they had to play a game tomorrow, if they had to play a game tomorrow, I believe Cam Robinson, Laken Tomlinson, Jake Andrews, Titus Howard, and Blake Fisher would be your offensive line left tackle to right tackle. That's what I believe. They had to play tomorrow. I feel like Tomlinson and Andrews are the guys with the most leads at their position in trying to solidify themselves as a starter. Ariante Ursary, he worked at left tackle. He worked at right tackle in place of Cam Robinson, in place of Blake Fisher. It's clear that he's going to get a crack at both of those spots. And I feel like he's probably closer to Fisher than he is Robinson at right tackle, Robinson at left tackle, obviously. But Ursary is going to have to knock one of those guys off to be a starter on the offensive line. Again, I feel like he's closer to Fisher. Fisher had an up and down day. There was a moment where he easily handled Will Anderson and took care of business against him, which he doesn't always do. And then a few moments later, I see Casey Toohill giving him the business and getting to the quarterback for a sack. So up and down day for Fisher. And there was one moment where I thought Fisher was going to be in there with his fellow offensive linemen, and the Texans had Zach Thomas in there instead of Fisher at right tackle. So tackle competition, very much there, very much something that'll be at the top of the watch list when training camp gets here, and certainly when pads finally come on at training camp. Those offensive linemen get to make it a fair fight against those defensive linemen. As far as the interior, again, Tomlinson and Andrews feel like they have a little bit of a lead here at left guard and center. Titus Howard, I think he's got to fend off all challengers for that right guard spot. He's got Ed Ingram. He's got Juice Scruggs. He's got Jalen Thomas. All those guys maybe in the mix there at right guard. But Titus Howard, again, if they played tomorrow, I think he'd be the guy. And then at center, say Jared Patterson's the guy trying to solidify that backup spot or challenge Andrews. He's the guy that's, I would think, closest to him. And then Juice Scruggs and some other options behind that. But again, the offensive line, 2 solid days in minicamp, stack those days. Just raise the floor. They don't have to be the Philadelphia Eagles, the Detroit Lions, anything like that. Just get the floor higher, significantly higher than it was last year, so that when it's bad, it doesn't look as bad and terrible and tons of pressure like CJ Stroud had to deal with last year. Just raise the floor, and it feels like they're at least headed down that path. Okay, they're not there yet. I wouldn't be confident in this offensive line, but it feels like they're headed in the correct direction with some competition, multiple different mixing and matching formations of the offensive line to ultimately find who are those 5 best guys that can protect CJ Stroud on a consistent basis. Because once they find those 5 guys, pray that they stay healthy and you don't have to do a bunch of mixing and matching on this offensive line, or benching because guys actually weren't very good when the real games got here. Speaking of when the games get here, the Texans might be okay at tight end. I say okay because this is a position that Dalton Schultz had a bad 2024. Brevin Jordan's coming off of a significant knee injury. Cade Stover's playing his 5th year at the position and was an okay rookie at times and a bad rookie at others last year. Irv Smith is Irv Smith and Luke Lachey is a rookie. So not a ton of investment there at the tight end position over the course of the offseason, but you brought back a couple of pieces from the tight end room last year. And I want to go piece by piece here. And I feel like Dalton Schultz is moving a lot better here in camp, or mini camp, in 2025 than he was at any point in 2024. He looks more spry. He caught a touchdown pass in the back of the end zone where he just shook loose of Kalen Bullock in a coverage situation and found himself open, and CJ Stroud darted that sucker in there and found Dalton Schultz. He looks more capable than he did in 2024, and I feel like based on some very early and small things, they're not going to put Dalton Schultz in situations that he can't handle, which is blocking defensive ends. They're going to try to avoid that and minimize his risk in those moments and maximize what he can do as a receiver. It's worth noting, as bad as we thought Dalton Schultz played in 2024, he's still probably a pretty good margin, the best tight end on this football team. He just can't do as much as some of these other guys. Cade Stover's receiving looks better. He looks more fluid, more comfortable catching the football. He was a good run blocker last year, a poor pass blocker last year. That's something when the pads come on, you'll have to be watching and adjusting and paying attention to. Brevin Jordan still working out, coming back from the knee injury. Irv Smith, not much to note from the veteran fill-in player. And then Luke Lachey, the rookie. I thought he had some nice plays over the middle in this minicamp workout, and he, again, looks fluid in a receiving and catching the football situation. Now, it's important to note, if the wide receivers are as good as we hope, and the running back situation is healthy and you can trust Joe Mixon, the tight end necessity is going to go down a little bit. It could be a little bit of gravy, a little bit of extra on the offense. You'll still need Dalton Schultz here and there, and you'll still need Cade Stover here and there, and maybe Brevin Jordan if he bounces back from the knee injury. But relying on them, hopefully, is not a necessity for the Houston Texans in 2025, like it felt like it was sometimes in 2024. They should not be feeding Dalton Schultz the amount of receptions that he got and the amount of targets that he got last year. Well, if you have capable wide receiver options, you're hopefully not giving the tight end that many opportunities. So pretty darn good day of work. And again, overall, slight advantage to the defense, but the offense had a solid enough day led by solid offensive line play, good performance by Christian Kirk and the tight ends. Xavier Hutchinson had a nice workout as well, catching a touchdown in the red zone portion of teams period. So a good wrap up to the offseason workouts, and the next open workout for the Texans all the way in the back of July when training camp gets going. What say you? You like what you heard from the Houston Texans minicamp wrap up, or are you a little concerned about this or that? Let me know in the comment section down below. On your way down there, throw me a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to visit Platinum AC and Heating. Dwayne is the best in the biz. 5-star rated by the Better Business Bureau. 5-star rated by me because I have a brand new air conditioning system thanks to Platinum AC and Heating. Well, let me tell you, 84 to 68 in less than 90 minutes once it was good to go and ready to turn that sucker on. And now I don't even keep it as low as I kept the old one because it blows colder. I didn't even know what great air conditioning felt like. I thought I had great AC. It went kaput on me, and now I know what great AC is, and now I know what great service Platinum AC and Heating brings you, from repairs to replacements to just simple AC maintenance. Platinum AC and Heating has you covered. Give Dwayne a call today. Appreciate you watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait until we talk Texans again soon.